I'm just starting again. I was going to start reading in the book of Judges, a few chapters into it. But then I'd have to refer back to the beginning of it, and even before that, perhaps. So I may as well start at the beginning. This is going to take a while. But because this stuff was recorded for our benefit, I need to tell people about it, because this is what's going on today. Not only in America, but the entire world. That's a pretty strong statement. But the whole world belongs to God and the fullness thereof. That's written in the Word, man. That doesn't come from me. I'm going to start reading in the book of Judges. And just maybe, someone who's listening will figure out the right way of living and paying attention to what God says. This is pretty tough. I gotta try to keep this glare down a little bit from the light. The book of Judges. Now, the judges were the people who were leading Israel. They talked with God. God instructed them. And all the judges, unless I can come across one that was screwy, all the judges did what God said. And while that was happening, they were winning the wars. They were conquering the people that are trying to conquer them, like ISIS. Well, all them goofballs over there. There's a lot of them Muslims right here in the U.S. that want to do damage to you. And 50% of the people that live in the U.S. Don't care, because they're all possessed by at least one demon. That's a strong statement. But why would somebody walk down that path if he didn't have a liking for living the wrong way? Huh? Well, here I am getting off the track. But that's what's going on. Let me see if I can dim this light a little bit. All right. The book of Judges in the Old Testament. Now, after the death of Joshua, it came to pass that the children of Israel asked the Lord, saying, "Who shall go up for us against the Canaanites first to fight against them?" He's asking, which group of people? And the Lord said, "Judah shall go up. Behold, I have delivered the land into his hand." Now, the guy's name was Judah, and was also a tribe named Judah. The 12 tribes. They were all sons of Jacob, I believe. And Jacob's name, if I'm remembering correctly, his name was changed into Israel. I think that's how it was. I'd have to get back into the book, but, I'm in my head and something's coming out. And Judah said unto Simeon his brother, that's another tribe. There I am. There it was, right there, huh? Here's the other guy that's the head of a tribe. He's one of the 12. And Judah said unto Simeon his brother, "Come up with me into my lot, that we may fight against the Canaanites. and I likewise will go with thee into thy lot. So Simeon went with him. And Judah went up, and the Lord delivered the Canaanites and the Perizzites into their hand. And they slew of them in Bezek 10,000 men. Now these people weren't fighting with bombs and stuff, man. It's swords and spears and clubs. 10,000 people. Hand-to-hand combat. Ooh. And they found Adoni-Bezek in Bezek, and they fought against him, and they slew the Canaanites and the Perizzites. But this must be the leader of the guys here. Adoni-Bezek fled. Now, I don't like these names, but I gotta say something when I'm reading it, right? Adoni-Bezek, he fled, and they pursued after him and caught him, and cut off his thumbs and his great toes. Now, you know what a thumb is. Now, the great toe, that's the big toe on the foot. They cut off all four of them. Now, this guy here, if you had read previously in the Bible, you would have found out that this guy was doing it to people also. So it came around and got him. You know that old saying, what goes around comes around? Pay attention to that stuff, man. And Adoni-Bezek said, 70 kings. 70, that's 60, and 10, that's 70 kings, having their thumbs and their great toes cut off, gathered their meat under my table. As I have done, so God hath requited me. Gave it right to him. And they brought him to Jerusalem, and there he died. And we captured all these kings. He cut off all them limbs, the toes and the thumbs. So he, to be polite, he embarrassed them for a long time. He fed them. He made them look like monkeys. They probably look like monkeys. But anyway, they all died. And what this guy did against God, God did to him. You got to be careful what you're doing, because you don't want to have that what goes around comes around to come back around you. I'm in chapter 1 in the book of Judges, and I'm going to read all this stuff because there are many who do not read it, but they may have opportunity to hear me do it for them. So I'm going to do it. Now the children of Judah had fought against Jerusalem and had taken it and smitten it with the edge of the sword and set the city on fire. And afterward the children of Judah went down to fight against the Canaanites that dwelt in the mountain and in the south and in the valley. There's a bunch of maps in here that shows all this stuff, but, how am I going to visualize that to you? And Judah went against the Canaanites and dwelt in Hebron. Now the name of Hebron before was Kirjath Arba, and they slew Sheshai and Ahiman and Talmai. All far out names, man. And from thence he went against the inhabitants of Debir, and the name of Debir before was Kirjath Sepher. Now why he's recording all this stuff, I don't know. But that's what it was. That's the truth. You don't hear people talking about the actual truth, the real stuff that's going on. Listening to the American government today and all those people that are hashing out taxes and all that type of garbage, they do not reveal the truth. Only here in this book is the truth. God shows you how to do all that stuff. If you follow the guidelines of God, there's absolutely no trouble whatsoever. And everybody has sufficient to live a beautiful life. But the evil ones, the communist Muslims, the liberals, the demon craps, they don't want you living like that because they are possessed. I already talked about possession. There's a lot of evil demons here in America, indeed, all over the world. Let's continue in the book of Judges. And Caleb said, He that smiteth Kirjath Sepher and taketh it, to him will I give Aksah, my daughter, to wife. Wow, how about that? And Othniel, the son of Kenaz, Caleb's brother, took it, and he gave him Aksah, his daughter, to wife. And it came to pass, when she came to him, that she moved him to ask of her father a field. And she lighted off of her ass. I mean, she's riding a donkey here. Don't go getting screwy on me. And Caleb said unto her, What wilt thou? And she said unto him, Give me a blessing, for thou hast given me a south land. Give me also springs of water. And Caleb gave her the upper springs and the nether springs. Now there's that word nether again. I didn't look it up. I mean, I have an opinion, and I think I know what it is, but I'm not going to tell anybody. Look it up yourself. And the children of the Kenite, Moses' father-in-law, went up out of the city of palm trees, I think that was Jericho, with the children of Judah into the wilderness of Judah, which lieth in the south of Arad, and they went and dwelt among the people. And Judah went with Simeon his brother, and they slew the Canaanites that inhabited Zephath, and utterly destroyed it. And the name of the city was called Hormah. Also, Judah took Gaza with the coast thereof, and Askelon with the coast thereof, and Ekron with the coast thereof. I guess they were living by the water, huh? And the Lord was with Judah, and he drave out the inhabitants of the mountain, but could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. Ooh. Sort of like army tanks, huh? And they gave Hebron unto Caleb. And Moses said, and he expelled thence the 3 sons of Anak. Now, Anak, those are the giant people. Those are the big people. The Anakims. That's a different story. One that we're not doing tonight. Now, in verse 21, we start talking about Benjamin. He's another brother. And the children of Benjamin did not drive out the Jebusites that inhabited Jerusalem, but the Jebusites dwell with the children of Benjamin in Jerusalem unto this day. Now, if I looked in the beginning of this book, it'll show me the explanation of unto this day. It'll give me a rough time frame of when this book was written, but I don't know it offhand. And the house of Joseph, another brother, they also went up against Bethel, and the Lord was with them. And the house of Joseph sent to Descri, Bethel. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. Now the name of the city before was Luz. Now I'm remembering that stuff. I read that in other areas of the book. And guess what? It's up here. I'm remembering this stuff now. And the spies saw a man come forth out of the city, and they said unto him, Show us, we pray thee, the entrance into the city, and we will show thee mercy. No, if you show us how to get in there, we won't kill you. The guy probably says, okay. And when he showed them the entrance into the city, they smote the city with the edge of the sword. They took it. But they let go the man and all his family. Speaking of all his family stuff, see, I'm on the next page. I'm actually on page 249 of the Old Testament. Now, I met a woman, a young lady, not too long ago, maybe 1 or 2 months. I had opportunity to be in a hospital, and I was talking with this nurse, and I says, where are you from? Are you American? She looked at me. This was a real nice, smart girl, man. She looked at me and says, no. I'm from the Philippines. I said, the Philippines? Well, what are you doing here? And she told me the story of the Americans who were going out throughout different lands in the world and trying to get the smart people in here. Remember everybody talking about that? Now that's okay. They paid her way. They paid everything, okay? They made sure she had the proper schooling and learning to be a nurse, etc. You know what I disagree with is they brought her whole family. All the people that do not want to become Americans, they still want to be Filipino. That's what's going on, man. President Trump was talking about that. You let the guy in, and then there's a ricochet through his friends and family and stuff like that. And guess what? When you try to find out what the family's doing, you know, what kind of work did they enter into? You don't get any good answer. You want to know why? Because they're on the dole. They get paid not to work. If you work, the government takes your money and gives it to them. Huh? That's your government. That's those people that are Democrats and Republicans. They all do it. There's not much truth in the government. Well, listen, I got to knock this off, but I'll be right back.